Story 1. Cheating and the trauma afterwards. Worse than war trauma. I'll start by saying that my wife had an affair with her boss at work 3 years ago. I remember the day down to the second when I found out what was happening. With that said, I will also add that I am a combat veteran with 19 years of service and 6+ years in combat zones. The trauma from war pales in comparison to dealing with my wife's affair. I was prepared, somewhat, for war. I went through it with friends. I knew that no matter how bad things got, I'd either be dead or I'd have people there to go through the suck with me. Even once I got back, talking about my experiences to friends or a therapist is no issue. Dealing with my wife's affair has been about as opposite of that as things can get. It has been completely isolating. I can't talk about it with family or friends. For one, they'd wonder why I'm still with her, and how someone who is so outwardly strong and successful as I am would stick around after her affair. Next is the fact that it's completely emasculating. The entire experience made me feel lower than whale dung at the bottom of the ocean. Next is that I'm just sad all the time now. The person who was my rock for so long, the person that I trusted with my deepest, darkest secrets, the person that was the stability that I needed to be successful, and honestly to stay alive in combat, deceived me. Not just deceived me, but betrayed my trust in the worst possible way imaginable. In the past, when I was at my lowest points in life, my confidant was my wife. Now she is the person that has caused me to be at my lowest point, and she is the person I want to talk to. But I can't, because she is the one that caused this to begin with. I know I'm just ranting now, but I'd spend the rest of my life in combat to not have to deal with the torture of my wife cheating. I can unequivocally say that this is the worst thing that has ever happened to me in my life. I know I should just get over it and move on, but I don't know how. I'm not a crier, but I lay awake at nights with tears rolling down my face, and there's no one I can tell, no one I can talk to. It's honestly a miserable existence. I'm sorry. We have been there. This is a place you can talk. I hated the fact I couldn't go to my wife with a pain as well. It's such a mind screw. The support person being the cause. Ugh. Finding this sub has been life-changing for me. I also felt like I had no one to talk to. At least here people understand. We absolutely believe how bad this hurt, and all the life-changing complexity that comes with that pain. I'm not really a crier either. When I found out, I cried and made horrible sounds I've never heard from myself or anyone before. After all this time, I don't really cry anymore about anything and probably never will. Hang in there, brother, and thank you for your service. Had no one to talk to. At least here people understand. We absolutely believe how bad this hurts. Yeah, it has numbed me in a way I didn't know was possible. Maybe this is a transition that everyone goes through in life. I don't know. I just know I was a lot happier and able to actually have feelings before. Jesus, she made the prison, and you locked yourself in. You've got to let yourself out of the cage you're voluntarily holding yourself in. Tell your close friends and family and talk to them about it. Will your wife be embarrassed? Yeah, but too damn bad. Those were the choices she made, and she can damn well live with the consequences. Why should you hold the majority of the burden? If you're staying for the kids, I'll tell you the best thing my parents ever did for me and my sister was break up. It was a much happier home with the two of them apart. If they grow up seeing two unhappy parents, they'll end up with the same relationship dynamic as adults, so you do better by them to go out and get into a healthy, loving relationship so they can see what one is like. Same goes for your wife. If my parents had divorced, I'd probably have a much less messed up view of relationships 100%. Staying together for the kids is BS of the most organic variety. 3 tours here. I was a phobot, so no street cred, although I did get yelled at when I got in an MRP during a combined VBIDE/ground attack. Long story, you do need to talk with somebody. Unit chaplain, fellow members of your unit with whom you were deployed, somebody. I'd wager you're not the only one going through this, although they might be silent about it as well, or not want to know. You should also speak to a non-military lawyer regarding your rights vis-à-vis divorce and a post-nuptial agreement if you remain together. There is no harm in individual counseling. TRICARE might cover that. I don't know. Now this is going to seem harsh, but you need to hear this. Apologies in advance. 1. Never discount the possibility that this was not her only affair. 1a. Cheaters only admit to what they think you know. This is known as trickle truth. 2. Paternity test your kids if you have any. I'm not trying to plant seeds, but you need to be sure. 3. Marriage counseling. Be forewarned, you may find out more than you wish. Good luck, fella soldier. Keep us posted. Truth is truth, and I appreciate you for it. As far as this being her only affair, I don't know. Looking back, it's very likely that she cheated when I was deployed. With that said, there were no indications that she cheated like there were this time. I've thought about this as well. On one hand, I doubt she'll just come out and admit it if it did happen, not without any evidence. Also, I don't know what good there is in me searching and finding out. I guess I want to look forward and to make sure it doesn't happen again. If it does happen again, well then our relationship is done. As far as our kids, I'm certain they are mine. Just type the below elsewhere. So just pasting here, I did counseling when I first found out. But that's it. I tried 2 different counselors, and they were both very religious, of which I am not. So their approach and their recommendations about prayer didn't work for me. 2. I don't want to admit to my wife that this is still an issue. Don't want her to know how damaged I am, and how much pain I am still in 3 years later. Before the affair, I would have told her that I had an issue that I needed help with, and that I thought I needed counseling. Now, I can't trust her with something so deep and personal. Story 2. Have any betrayed men stayed and been able to reconcile? I don't think I can do it. It's been 25 years since my 43 male wife, 43 female, had an affair. To say it was a surprise would be an understatement. I spent the first 6-12 months in a state of shock and disbelief. I tried to fix what happened, but what's done can't be undone. I have tried and she has tried, but the pain won't go away. It's a pain that is hard to describe. I've only experienced it once in my life, but it's been constant for 25 years. Nothing has felt the same since. Not holidays, birthdays, vacations. It's all been different. My vision of the future is blurry. That vision helped me push through difficult times. We have 3 kids and a life that we spent 20 years building. So I decided I'd try to reconcile with her. That's what she wanted, and she said was willing to do whatever it took to repair our marriage, or so she said at the time. Instead of feeling better, the pain and resentment have gotten worse with time. I'm afraid I have to remove myself from the situation if I want to heal. Are there any men on here that have successfully reconciled after their wife had an affair? I am beginning to think I'm not capable of getting past this. But I wonder if it's just me. I am asking about men because our society seems to have different views on affairs based on who cheats on who. I was even wrong in how I viewed affairs prior to this experience. I know it's hard on both men and women, but one seems to be more accepted by society than the other. Now for the top advice. The thing is, even after a successful reconciliation, you will never again look at your wife and see the woman she was before she cheated on you. Her cheating changed her as a person. You learned the hard way what your wife is capable of, and are trying to love, trust and respect this new woman that she has become. Some people can do that, others not. Your old marriage died when she cheated, and until now you weren't able to feel good in your new marriage with this new woman. Your old wife will never return. She is gone just like your old marriage. That is the reason why I never tried to get back together with my ex. She was no longer the woman I once fell in love with. I didn't want to live a life where I would always be afraid that she would do the same again. In theory, reconciliation is possible, but if you do it to get your old marriage back, then it won't work out. Reconciliation means to accept that your old marriage is dead and to build a new one. Stay strong. Thank you. It is hard to accept. I have an attorney and divorce looks bad for me given that she was a stay-at-home mom for the past 12 years. That sucks. The only thing I can tell you there is that no money is worth it to stay unhappy. Sorry that you are in this situation. I hope this helps. I tried to fix what happened, but what's done can't be undone. Shouldn't that be she tried to fix what happened? Or at a minimum, we tried to fix what happened. But you're right, you can't go back in time and have your wife not spread her legs for another man. She made the choice to do so. Hence why she needs to fix your marriage. That's what she wanted, and she said was willing to do whatever it took to repair our marriage, or so she said at the time. What do you want? Also, what has she done to repair your marriage? The last phrase sounds as if she is not fulfilling her end of the repair bargain. I am beginning to think I'm not capable of getting past this, but I wonder if it's just me. It is not just you. She broke your marriage. She betrayed her vows. She made the choice, multiple times, to betray you, your kids, your marriage. Other men feel the same. You are not alone in your feelings, nor are you wrong to feel the way you do. Because our society seems to have different views on affairs based on who cheats on who. Our society has a lot of double standards. 1. Meet with a lawyer today. 2. Meet, if you are not already, with a therapist today. 3. Do you have kids? Have you told them? 3a. Do your friends, her parents, and your parents know? 4. What is the action plan for her to regain your trust, so that you can continue in the marriage, or at the very least, co-parent together in a civil manner? Keep us posted up. Feel free to reach out, either for support or to ask questions. I feel the same. It's almost 3 years since D-Day, and I love her, but I have so much resentment. I already talked about divorce, but she panicked when I bring that info about. I really believe we need divorce. For that 3 years I have some happiness, but I think about that every day, that it's no life to me. Statistically speaking, only around 15% of relationships reconcile and lead to healthy marriages. It's okay to admit it's not working out. Lots of stats say it takes 2 to 5 years to get to normal. You're only on the lower limit of that bound. It's okay to admit that you're unhappy and want a brighter future. It's okay to be honest and decide it's best to move on. At least you're doing it as honestly as possible, unlike your wife. Story 3. I've never told anyone this. I mean, I have, but never in full. It seemed too embarrassing, too raw. Made me look like too much of an idiot. I met a girl. Let's call her Beth. We bonded over the mistreatment our previous love interests had given us. I'd been cheated on, she had been screwed over by guys during college, and she would constantly tell me men are trash. I reminded her I wasn't, but understood how she felt, and that I would do all I can to help her change this perception. We were great for maybe 9 months. I was very loving her, not so much. But that was okay, we still had a good balance. And one day when we were about to have intercourse, she just freaked out. It seemed a little odd, but I understood. She just said she didn't want to be touched. We had already planned to move in together the next month, and things otherwise were generally great. I had paid for pretty much everything when moving in, because she was terrible with money, and had none: the security deposit, first month's rent, $500 worth of things we needed. But she needed a job in that town, and we needed to live close by. She ended up hating this job and had to take a huge pay cut for another. Again, I said, don't worry, your well-being is the most important. I'll cover what we need. So this girl owes me near on to $500. We have just moved in together, and we haven't had intimacy for 3 months. Tensions started to rise, but I kept my mouth shut because I just wanted her to be okay. I then find texts stating she might be bisexual. It was a bit of a shock, but I said that's obviously fine. But does that have anything to do with the no intercourse thing? She said no, and I left it at that. Months go by and still no action. Still I'm paying for more and more. and I'm thinking nothing of it despite worrying maybe the orientation and no X thing is related. I'm shot down at any attempt to discuss it, so I leave it. For our anniversary, I book a vacation to New York. The couple weeks leading up to the trip, she's acting a bit weird, but still says nothing, until breaking up with me out of the blue on the second night there. Bummer. We talk it out in the morning, agree it was silly, and we will get back together. But she wants a week by herself to give her space. She tells me she still wants to talk, but despite knowing I'm going out of my mind, ignores me at regular intervals, the Monday night not texting me to say good night until the morning, and basically laughs at the idea that it might be upsetting. I tell her the whole time, if you ever change your mind, you need to tell me as soon as possible. By the Wednesday, she's acting very positive, saying she loves me, and at last I'm feeling a bit more normal. I ask if maybe I could come back to the apartment on the Thursday night instead of Friday, and she agrees. Thursday morning, she tells me she has a load of work to do, and is it okay if I just come Friday? I said yes, sure, but when she finished work on Thursday, she didn't text me back until 11 p.m. Sorry, I fell asleep on the couch doing work and just woke up. Not sure how I'm going to sleep now. Before going to bed 10 minutes later, I get there on Friday, with some flowers and a bottle, waiting for 8 hours for her to get home. I'm super nervous but excited. We can finally sort things out. She walks in, laughs at the flowers, she was never really a fan, but hugs and kisses me, but is clearly a little off. I realize she has changed her mind, which she has. I ask if there's anything else she has to tell me. Yup, she had invited a guy from work round on the Monday night. She then went to his on the Thursday night, both times having some form of actual encounter. I hadn't slept with her for 6 months. She had lied to me all week in the worst state of my life, even after begging her to tell me if she ever changed her mind so I could begin to move on. I have never given so much of myself to someone to be given such little respect back. Especially someone who claims men are trash. I'm sorry, Beth, you're trash. There's lots of bits I've missed, but you get the idea. Now for the comments. Every time I've ever read that someone needs time and space to think, there's always another person involved. My mom said exactly the same from the start. Moms know best. Only one woman told me that, and yes, another dude. Long story short, I went to their country. For the nature of my work, I travel a lot, and her job the same thing, and found the surprise. I drank myself out of that place. That sucks, dude. Hope you're all good now. Wait, you paid for almost everything. She wanted a break, and she got to stay in the apartment. She is trash. Good luck. You will find someone who values you and treats you with respect. I know, it's embarrassing looking back, haha. She also only ever paid back half. I'm with a great girl now, makes talking about the whole thing almost satisfying rather than painful now. There were so many red flags right from the start. Also, the previous bad relationships she's had in the past. At best, she only told you the part of the story that doesn't make her look bad. It's more likely that she told you her BFS did things to her that she actually did to them. The new guy is going to get the same treatment, and she's telling him how awful you were, because that's the kind of crappy human being she is. Yup. Thanks, friend, it's great to hear that, so true. Edit. Man, that felt good. Thanks for all your words, everyone. It's super appreciated, and I'm so sorry some of you have had to go through a similar thing. This happened over a year ago, and I'm now with the loveliest girl I've ever met and thankful to have this witch behind me. You're all freaking great, and don't let anyone tell or make you feel otherwise.